Live from Kansas, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where with just 4 races to go, we are set to kick off another bout of racing action here in the Highline Diecast Collectibles Speed Cup Series. My name is Ola Ramble, alongside me is Brad Daniels, and to bring you all of racing action from start to finish here on Thursday night. Brad, we are entering the end game of the regular series season, and that means that for drivers that are looking for ways to score themselves into the top 10 points, it is a very critical afternoon for several.
Absolutely. With the Highline Diecast in-season bracket in our rear view mirror, a lot of the drivers got only really 4 races, including tonight, to make their way into the top 10 and into the chase. And I think all that being considered, it is a tight line right now. As you can see on the schedule, we got 4 courses: Kansas, Talladega, Texas, Watkins Glen. And I think a lot of drivers that might have been punished through these last 5 races in the in-season bracket challenge might be looking forward to these races to try and get some good, consistent points.
We'll take a look at those points now as we continue to fight our way on through. Inosha right now has been crushing it this season, once again on top with 272 points. Behind him is Ethan Amber, Grant Applegate, and Philip Scott. Those are the drivers that are right now within 32 points of your, within 30 points of your class leader. It's a 20-point drop, though, from Scott down to Norman. So the top 5 relatively secured, but for other drivers, you look to Justin Mello, Josiah Vince, and Jake Nippers, separated by only 10 between the 3. Not so safe. These are the drivers that are currently in, and this is a look at those that are currently on the outside looking in.
A lot of fast drivers. We've seen them jump up and down. You know, Terrell Wheeler and Jason Garcia last week, you remember they were in that in-season bracket challenge finale, meaning they had some consistent results that have gotten to them to this point here today. But a lot of other drivers, including Nate Cotilla, you remember he won the season opener and, you know, trying to all battle towards that top 10 spot and not too far from it, only about 30 points down to Garrett Austin.
Peyton Tulo, Jeremiah Vincent, Terrell Wheeler, and Benazzi Major, all of them separated by only 8 points to Jake Nippers for the final spot in. So Nippers is no doubt going to be looking over his shoulder here this afternoon. Well, to give a quick shout out to the guys getting the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series. Tonight's race being brought to you by Highline Diecast Collectibles, your go-to source for high-quality NASCAR diecast and memorabilia. Whether you're hunting for the latest releases, rare finds, or looking to sell your own collection, they've got you covered. Plus, don't miss their live auctions every week on Facebook and whatnot, where you can score incredible deals on must-have collectibles and place your pre-order on NASCAR's latest diecast at HighlineDiecast.com. Of course, this coming Thursday, it is, of course, going to be first come, first serve for on-sale diecast. And next week, it'll be more of the same. But for the time being here, you got yourself this track. It's a really hot racetrack out at the moment, Brad. And, of course, winds are high as well. You're looking over 110 degrees Fahrenheit on the track temp, or at least it was throughout practice. It's dropped down to 108, but that wind still hovering around 14 to 16 miles an hour.
Yeah, the drivers aren't going to feel that difference too much. And for maybe a lot of drivers that thought this week, you know, Kansas, somewhere that is not really considered a driver's track, somewhere you can kind of put the car anywhere it feels like at times. With these weather conditions, it's just going to make your car a little more upset while we try to get a good finishing position here in Kansas. But with 39 cars here tonight, there is 39 different drivers all hungry to try and win and take their way to the top step of the podium.
Who are you keeping tabs on here this afternoon? Because there's a lot of drivers that are trying to make themselves with some last-minute desperation runs throughout this field. And this race, much like the last few weeks, could be one of survival with the very hot track temps.
Yeah, I think it, you know, like we've said in multiple races here before, if you come out clean, you're probably going to end up in the top 10 position, and I really think so here tonight in Kansas.
Just a few seconds to go here in qualifying, or I should say the 5-minute warm-up session, as it is going to be a 39-car grid, second biggest of the field, and the largest grid since Daytona, which sported 40 cars for the season opener. So time to see who's going to be starting where for racing action here this afternoon. And we can tell you right now that up on top of the boards, it is, of course, going to be the likes of, you're looking for Grant Applegate. T.I. Racing started this race on top of the boards. He is alongside Ethan Amber, who was on top until the very end of qualifying. Row 2 on the grid, you, of course, have Justin Mello alongside Josiah Vince in 3rd and 4th. Row 3 is Joey Baird alongside Nicholas Coate, with the likes of Martin Plute and Cosman Inoshu. The points leader bringing it up in 7th place here. The aftermarket coffee Tiltify Camry down in 24. 9th and 10th, you got Austin Weingard in the number 41. He is along with the ObstaCleFactory.com 99 of Philip Scott.
Starting in row number 6, the 10 of Jesse Gordon to his outside, the 11 of James Goodwin. And in row number 7, we have the 23 of Austin Thompson to his outside, Jake Nipris, who is holding on to that final spot in the chase right now. That 39 of Stan Hausman, 15th, Matt Montembeau in the 28 and 16th. Garrett Austin starting in 17th with Zachary Cox to his outside in 18th. And rounding out your top 20 here tonight, Adam Kulikowski and Ronnie Norman.
Rest of the grid going to be up on your screen here as they're already rolling out of pit road here. This is going to be quite the wild race, I think, this afternoon for a lot of drivers here, Brad. And I would expect some early race calamity. That seems to be the trend at Kansas over the last year or so with most races here.
Yeah, I really think a lot of drivers will be daring, especially on these fresh tires. The hot temperatures will definitely make those tires go away a lot quicker than where they might have practiced earlier in the week. But I think throughout the race, we're going to see a lot of drivers develop that long pace, that long green flag pace to, try and make themselves differentiate from the rest of the field. Because a lot of drivers can throw their car around, but it's really going to be those who know how to get that tire to last, I think, here in Kansas with these elevated temperatures.
All but one will take to the grid. Ernie Ludwig will start his race at pit road. He was one of 5 drivers that did not put down a qualifying lap this afternoon. As we make our way through turn numbers 3 and 4, we are once again happy that you are joining us for more racing action here on Thursday night. Grant Applegate going to lead this field into the restart zone, and yet again, time to get the party started. It's go, go, go in Kansas! Fanning out 2 and 3 wide, multiple rows deep while coming off of turn 4. Applegate leads the way at the end of lap number 1, single file throughout several of the front runners. Everyone else in lockstep just behind as we close out the opening lap of the night.
And Mello was able to grab that second place away from Ethan Amberg, and now we're taking a look back as Austin Weingard's able to get past that 81 of Martin Ploop. And a caution has come out. Jason Garcias, and it looks like maybe some more back here involved.
Scott Leonard going to come to pit road very early on here in this one. Like you said, yellow flag out for the first time today, and it happened between Jason Garcia, Scott Leonard, and Sedarius Days. A lot of damage on several of these race cars as they come out of turn numbers 3 and 4. What did I tell you? I was predicting we're going to get that early race calamity right out of the gate. Sure enough, it will be just that as we take a look back, find out what happened. That's already in progress. Scott Leonard, I think, caught the wall. Got run over by Days. There goes Jason Garcias. He's going to spin down to the inside, and I think he was able to keep that one out of the field without collecting anybody else. But a 3-car crash kicking this one off early on.
And relatively, thankfully, at the back of the field. And with the 3 cars combined, obviously nothing major, nothing critical. But take another look. Oh, we've got a little bit of help, it looks like, from the 75.
Yes, sir. That would be Sean Hughes, one of our many rookies in the field, getting involved. Take a ride on board with Hughes. This is what he saw coming down into turn number 3. Kind of just chased him with the racetrack there a little bit, didn't he?
I was going to say, I mean, they knew it was up there. I mean, didn't give him too much room to play with, and I think entering the quarter, obviously that 75, maybe a little higher than what Scott Leonard was hoping and expecting for, and just really those two meeting at the same piece of real estate and ending the 19s. Well, not entire night early, but it's definitely going to be a tall mountain to get back here in Kansas that is relatively flat.
Philip Scott making an early strategy call as he comes down pit road, fuel only for the 99 entry. He's going to give up a midfield track position and drop all the way to the tail end of the field.
And I'm trying to do the math in my head. With at least green flag running, the fuel span would be 48 laps according to our calculations. So you know, all that being said and done, if I don't know if laps is really going to do much for you, considering lap 48, or if you go 48 laps from now, that's 52, 110. At that point, you have 25 to go. So just maybe, you know, like you said, just topping off. Maybe if this gets a long green flag run, he'll be able to stay out a couple laps longer. All that being said and done, might as well. You know, it's early. I think there's going to be a couple more cautions where that came from, especially with how some of these races have been going so far, until some of these people just calm down a little bit, and also at the same time get their way here in Kansas, because it's going to be hot and these drivers might not be used to these conditions, to say the least.
Applegate and Mello continuing to run 1 and 2. Caution coming out after just one lap of racing here this afternoon. Hoping this does not turn into a Bristol-style stop-start race. But even Bristol, you got some green flag running at the end. Granted, after over half the field was out, but we did get some green flag running at the end. We are hoping it won't go the same way here today. That incident happening towards the tail end of the field. See if we'll get a repeat, as it is TI Racing still leading the way. Jordan Fisher already up 10 positions as he is into 25th place after starting back in 35th.
Some daring moves by the 35, and he's been fast all season and trying to catch up to the rest of the competitors. As you said, you know, that top 5 pretty secure. Currently, Jordan Fisher being in that 6th place spot. He needs to get some good points here today to try and avoid that cutoff line.
Well, the field works their way around to the front straightaway. Give us another crack at it into the Sunoco Fuels restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And Grant Applegate leads them back to the green flag. And they are able to get out in front early on. So Applegate taken off, while Amberg and everybody else remains too wide into turn 1.
Say a 3/10 gap into turn 1 is insane for that 57 to keep on going.
Oh, hold on!
And the 10 of Jesse Gordon.
Oh,
like
my goodness! Huge crash as Jesse Gordon goes barrel rolling down the back straightaway. Somehow lands on all fours, trying to see if he can drive the car away. But a monster crash on the back straight for the number 10. No caution because of how far down the racetrack he was. Will stay green.
It is insane. Only 6 laps in, already saw a barrel roll and still only 1 caution. Still going though, everyone keeping it forward. Mello has some major damage, but gonna keep on trucking here up in the top 5, as everyone's still in the mid pack here trying to fan out, use these fresh tires to get somewhere, including Zachary Cox in that 51, currently trying to hold off that 15th place position, but just surrounded by 2 wide action all around him. No matter where you look here, from about 10th on back, it is 2 wide throughout the field.
I genuinely think that is the first that is the first flip we've seen of this racetrack in over a whole year on green flag TV. The last one, I believe, if I remember correctly, came for the SRA IL Truck Series when Dale Rapp catapulted off the nose of Jared Duda's spinning truck and went cartwheeling into the turn 1 catch fence before coming to a stop on his roof at the bottom of turn 1. Trouble him straight away. Around goes Zachary Cox, sliding into the infield. Can he pull it up and save it? He sure will, as he gets it back underneath him. Oh my goodness.
And Joey Barrett get together, but Barrett's able to save it down there. He's going to lose a couple positions here to Cosman Ayanoshu, and the elbows are out. Everyone's still getting together as they come through turn 4. Mello all out of sorts.
Oh, not done yet. Now he's pushed into the grass by Joey Barrett. He's going to spin around. This is going to bring out the yellow flag up the racetrack. Do we all avoid him? I think we just barely do. Terrell Wheeler loses it, trying to keep an evasive run. But man, what a wild ride for Justin Mello, and somehow the field's able to miss him. This gives the perfect opportunity to jump back and take a look at Jesse Gordon's violent ride down the back straightaway.
Off firework. He was trying to, I don't know if he got helped by Martin Ploop, but holy moly.
Oh my word. I've counted about 3 1/4 tumbles there before coming back down on all fours, but he has been going at least 170 into the wall for that kind of a hit.
was gonna say, no, it just looked like the throttle got stuck. Like it just was no brakes, just all action to that inside wall.
On board with Gordon.
I don't even know if Mello really spooked anyone there. I mean, it just the 10 just got so, and the camera feed actually fell off. Is that actually?
That is hard to believe. I mean, a hit that ferocious at a track like this, right? I mean, you do not see that every day. At speed, wham, a huge hit to the wall, and it was really the hit that where he lands on the roof that would obviously be of a particular concern had this been in the real world, because that roll cage could have very easily buckled. Take another look at this one and slow this way down. I mean, that car is not stopping. It doesn't matter what you do. Right into the inside wall. And he's going to slam down on top of the roof. Goes over once, twice. I think it goes for 3. But, I mean, that is a sight you very rarely see on an intermediate racetrack. It ends up being only 2.
Let's say this is just shades of Daytona, Talladega. You think that is where you're going to see this type of just pure, just unadulterated, violent wreck that the 10 just went through of Jesse Gordon, and now you get it here at Kansas. That was never going to be on my bingo card to especially see more than maybe somebody end up on their roof, but he did more than just that. Just a complete decimation to that 10.
And then a few laps later, this is what puts us under the yellow flag for the second time today. It is Justin Mello coming out of turn numbers 3 and 4. Austin Weingart right in front. Mello got real loose. Joey Barrett hit the back. That pushes Mello into the grass. The grass catches the left side of the car, spins him around. Then watch this as he comes back up the racetrack. And I thought for sure he was about to get T-boned here. Manazzi Major just missed him. Look at Colton Easterday and David Farella have to scramble up high to avoid him. With Easterday catching the wall, everyone else able to get through down low. And Terrell Wheeler locked the rears, and he's going to also spin it around in sympathy entering turn 1.
And for all that being said and done, you know, we just had 3 separate incidents, including Zachary Cox when he went through the infield. And considering really, well, you know, I don't want to put the 10 of Jesse Gordon, he's in his own realm right now comparative to everyone else's damage. But, you know, everyone's still keeping it relatively light through all that. Not a big parking lot happening on the front stretch as we ride on board with Colton Easterday for this near miss. And the 53 just 2 inches away from the front bumper.
About to go green here at the Kansas Speedway as we make our way to the back straightaway. Coming off of a green flag crash that saw one of the hardest hits we have seen in Speed Cup Series history into an inside wall. Safe to say, Jesse Gordon will be joining Ernie Ludwig and Scott Leonard in the garage.
Is going to be hurting with Grant Applegate, Ethan Amberg leading the field back to green yet again in the restart zone, and that 57 gets another great jump to start lap number 12.
13 laps in the books as we cruise down to turn 1. Jordan Fisher trying to look for the middle 3 wide with James Goodwin and Martin Plute. Wanted to force the issue early on as he drives way through the field. A quick course correction to the inside. Barrett tries to block. Not going to happen, though, as Fisher maintains his run down low. Now it's Joey Barrett being caught up in the middle. Up the racetrack, Goodwin catches the wall, but Fisher already up 3 spots on just this restart alone.
He's getting near 30 positions gained. Right now sitting at 29 behind Ethan Amberg. That 14, though, is going to be the hard part here because once he gets to the top 5, these drivers have been fast, but that 35 has been cruising through the field, now able to get into the top 5. Looking to the back bumper of Nicholas Coate, who has been stellar here in Kansas, but that 48 and really the rest of these drivers up front are going to give a great battle to this 35. As he's finally made it through 30 cars, it might be these 4 that hold him back. As everyone else filing out through the front 7 back to about James Goodwin is where the first battle is really going on.
You have to imagine if perhaps Jordan Fisher is burning up his tires a little bit too early. I mean, these guys do have 3 sets of tires, but If he comes down to pit now, he's giving up all the time that he just made up. So I'm sure he's going to be wanting to keep tabs on his tire wear on this one as he gets around Nicholas Cote. Oh, he thought he would at least. He looked for the outside. Couldn't quite commit to it. While deeper in the field, they're looking for 3 abreast as they head down to turn 1. This is Mello, Wheeler, and Easterday.
Mello trying to climb up through the field, gets the front bumper of Easterday, and we are back under yellow.
Spins to the inside, and ironically, he got turned by the one car that managed to avoid him in the last yellow. Tough break for Justin Mello, though. He has been having a rough ride of it this race. Take a look at the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Remax Select replay. This happens coming off of turn number 2. Watch as he goes 3 wide. Easterday tracks tight. Drifts up. Mello can't go any higher because he's got Wheeler on the outside. And Easterday turns him across the nose. I think because it went all the way around. This time we're not going to see a Titanic-style hit into the inside wall.
Yeah. Luckily keeping all 4 tires on the ground, that 53 able to not even come close to that inside wall, but still bringing out the caution and definitely some scuffed tires. And if he replaced those tires on that last caution, he might be trying to keep these ones a little more fresh and try to at least not waste all of his tire sets here in the first half of the race. As we take another look at just a little ride the 53 took as he got spun right around like a top into the infield.
Good job to save it there as well.
Absolutely. I was going to say he's did a great job at least keeping that car maneuvered out of the wall and still pretty fresh for that iRacing machine.
Melo's a wheelman. We've seen him before. Nico Tilla, primary sponsor for tonight's race for the Disabled Aviator on YouTube 200. Down pit road right now. Fuel only stop for the driver of the number 5. Lucky Dog, free pass this time by going to the likes of Corey Hutchinson. Here this afternoon, he is the first recipient of the Game Glass Lucky Dog today. Game Glass turns your phone or tablet into a custom control panel for your favorite sim game. Star Citizen, DCS, Flight Sim, or iRacing, you name it. No more forgetting keybinds. Just tap and fly. Try for free at GameGlass.gg or use Hunter71 for 10% off of a subscription today. Three cautions, Brad, and much like last week, they come in quick succession.
Yeah, all these drivers just getting really aggressive. Obviously, that last one was due to some 3-wide action, which at Kansas isn't, the crazy comparative to a Bristol, but, it is still uncomfortable for some drivers, especially, when it comes to these track temperatures, along with maybe a little bit of tire wear on these tires. There's not too many green flag laps on these tires, so no fall off to say the least. But for some of those drivers who are trying to push their way back up through the field, like Justin Mello was, trying to just see if they can pull off what Jordan Fisher has done already can be a little hard at times, especially when, it gets a little too close for comfort. So, I'm going to be watching that 35 here on this restart to see if he can just continue these restarts of just blowing through the field and see if he's able to get onto the podium, to say the least. But still up at the front with Grant Applegate, now Austin Weingart at 41 making his way to the front row. It's going to be interesting to see if that 41 has anything for the 57, because really on these restarts, he is unmatched by turn 1.
Weingart up 7 positions after starting back in 9th. Jordan Fisher might be able to have something working for him, because got to remember, Fisher up 30 spots in this race. But Fisher is kind of stalled out once hitting the top 5. Green flag is back in the air.
Yet again, that outside line falls back. Weingart goes behind the 24, and now 35 of Jordan Fisher. Fisher being on that inside line, able to get 2 free positions now onto the podium position by turn 1. As we're looking back, Ethan Amberg, who started on the front row here today, trying to keep a hold of his 6th place position on the inside of now Josiah Vincent, trying to get into the top 5 of Jordan Fisher now passes Cosmanaya No Shoe for 2nd. And there, I thought we're going for 3 wide there coming through turn 4, but able to figure it out as Nicholas Cope backs out and dives down to the bottom lane to try to see if he can find a way around these two as they stay nose to nose into turn 1.
Still racing down the back chute. Jordan Fisher and Grant Applegate. TI Racing 1-2. How many times have we seen that so far this season? As they continue to pull away. Ethan Amberg and Josiah Vincent. 2 wide for a top 5 position on this grid. A little bit deeper in the field, you have more drivers that are still looking for 3. There's Jake Niparis, starting in from the 14th place spot today. Right now racing with Stan Hausman.
Still a battle here in the mid-pack section. As you see, Austin Thompson was taking the ultra-high line here right in front of these two, battling for now 13th between Hausman and Austin Thompson. Thompson on the outside, Hausman on that inside, trying to use the apron a little bit there to get a good run into turn 1. He's going to have the nose in front of the 23 for now, but that outside line is where it's going to be a little more comfortable for these drivers, especially those trying to save some tires. Munasi Major gets a little loose coming out of 1 and maybe just absolutely telling me the wrong thing there, as that 82 is slowly getting into the tracks here of the 39. He's really running that higher line that maybe some of these drivers trying to hold into that lower part of the track for now, as the 39 of Hausman able to get around the 23, and Jake Niparis next on the chopping block here to try and get past that 23 for the 14th.
Hausman, Thompson, Niparis all continue to fight this one out. Sedarius Days, David Farella, and more still locking horns deeper in the field as well. Jason Gracias, Ryan Newman, and Martin Plout all in the background as Plout trying to lug high, but still can't get the run that he needs to force it 3 wide. Jason Gracias, meanwhile, will be able to do that. He goes up the middle of Zachary Cox and David Farella, but Cox taking that apron, going to be able to maintain just enough speed to clear Gracias into turn 1. So the battles continue. Oh, and around goes David Farella at the tail. Slides into the inside wall. Not the only one. As up the racetrack goes Terrell Wheeler. No caution yet. I think we're going to stay green.
That is surprising. Especially with Wheeler going back up into the racing line, I thought that was going to be an instantaneous yellow, but we keep on going, unfortunately, for the 43 and 92, as those two going to have to bring it out pit rows. We take a look back here at the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Remax Select replay. Terrell Wheeler, he had it locked down, and then he got back up into the racing line. And regardless of even if Jason Shu and company had to get around him, everyone really not had to bring out the caution for that. So we stay green. Everyone keeping it 2 wide, though. Here's Martin Plout, Ryan Newman battling out. David Farella still trying to get back to pit road. It looks like he is just nursing that 92 Napa Auto Part machine around the inside line here on the apron. But now everyone kind of single filed out here throughout the majority of the field, as the 22 of Mark McFadden gets real loose, going to give the 15 the opportunity.
Yeah, the dwarf car driver from British Columbia having to kind of show some of that short track expertise by wrangling a loose car underneath them coming out of turn 2, albeit the speeds much higher than at the tracks he usually races on here at Kansas. Ryan Newman, Gracias, Cox, McFadden, Easterday still under a blanket. Zachary Cox has already spun once today in the infield, trying to go around the outside of Jason Gracias through 3 and 4.
You can see as time goes on, also the tire wear starts waning on these drivers as 51 gets into the wall slightly, but they get even more uncomfortable. And the cars themselves, you can see, are just getting so loose at times coming out of the corners, but also the aero push that is with these next gens, it could feel like a little bit of a, you're playing back and forth here with the car. It could push sometimes, feel really tight, and then at other times just let loose. That back end just jumps out from under you. So for these drivers, they're battling probably both sides of the spectrum here tonight. So we'll see if everyone is going to be able to keep it comfortable here as that tire fall off happens throughout this segment here, as Grant Applegate opens up a 1 second lead to his TI Racing teammate Jordan Fisher. And then you see this little pack of three here with Cosmin Ionoshu, Austin Weingard, and Ethan Amberg. And you got to remember, Cosmin Ionoshu, the last time we were here in Kansas last year, he won here in Kansas. So all that being said and done, that 24 knows how to win here. It's just, is he going to be able to get past the 35 and 57? Because that 35 has been on rails, but that 57 with the fresh air has been very, if not the most dominant car behind this 35.
Yeah, right now, Grant Applegate very much looking to just cruise away with things here this afternoon, as he has been on an absolute charge so far. You gotta love what TI Racing has been able to do, right? Coming in here and establishing themselves as a force to be reckoned with, really taking the fight to some of the front runners. Always excited to see fresh faces in a title hunt.
Oh, absolutely. And for Grant Applegate also, he's battling with Cosmin Ionoshu and Ethan Amberg for the top spot in the standings. So that 57 currently sitting in a great spot, getting, well, he has to get 18 points up on Cosmin Ionoshu with the current position, and with how Ionoshu's running, he's not going to be taking over the points lead, but he's doing his darndest, to say the least, especially with Jordan Fisher, who's also right there trying to crack into the top 5 in standings. And everyone throughout the field also, trying to make their way into the chase. It's going to be interesting to see how some of these drivers on the borderline are going to make their way up through this field, including some drivers like Justin Mello, who's had some interesting adventures here early in the race, in 8th in the standings, just trying to keep himself in the top 10. Might be a high order right now, as you see that 11 of James Goodwin looking to the inside of Matt Montembeau for the 9th place position, tracking him down slowly but surely here as he's looking to the inside in that Guinness machine. And it's all being said and done, these drivers up at the front now putting down some a long green flag run, at least for the time being, and getting used to it looks like, to say the least.
Ionoshu, Weingard, Amberg still battling for that final spot inside the top 3. And Weingard across the nose, and Ionoshu pushed across the nose. He pulled the same move on Ethan Amberg at the same time. Amberg now taking to the inside of the 41. And the Highline Diecast Collectibles number 14 forced to back out as Weingard continues to make the drive further up the grid, wanting to push his way back into the 3rd place spot. Weingard, one of those drivers that we haven't been able to talk about much so far this season. He is, of course, one of the more inexperienced drivers in this league. Only 8 starts to his name here in speed. He had 1 start back in 2024 at Daytona, where he finished 7th. Everything else has been in 2026. Now, very mixed results. So far, his best finish was at Martinsville with a 4th place run, but he has been all over the place. He's been in 12th, 18th, sometimes down as low as 36th, maybe 22nd one week. Same with qualifying. Qualified 25th one week, 26th another week, 18th one week, 2nd one week. It doesn't matter what the track has been. Austin Weingard, he's fast, but he's been lacking the week-to-week consistency.
Yeah, that 41, we have watched him time and time again throughout this season so far, but he hasn't had the opportunity to come talk to us after the race, and I think that 41 might make it a mission to not only get on the podium, but also, not being in the top 15 in points, not near that cutoff line currently to get into the chase, might be a tall order, but also that 41, if he can get a good set of 4 races here to close out the regular season, it's going to be a pretty close cutoff line, to say the least, if that 41 throws his name in the ring. He's doing a good job at it, currently sitting in 4th in front of that 2nd place in points, Ethan Amberg. So he's in good company, but can he get to the end of this race with said good company? Because we're only 39 coming to 40 laps in this race so far, and 95 laps here in Kansas might feel like eternity for some of these drivers. Credit with these tires and the weather conditions.
Jake Nipperis, Austin Thompson, still side by side, as well as Nipperis and Thompson looking to scrap this fight out for 3rd and 4th. Nipperis all the way down inside of the racetrack. Thompson wanting to see if he can't make that run around the high side. They are both catching up. Munatsi Major, a former race winner in this championship. As well as that, just up the road, Ethan Ambert finally getting around Austin Weingart for the 5th place spot. Justin Melilo, real slow on the back straight. I think he may have had an issue coming out of turn number 3. Or turn 2, sorry.
Looking back with Phillips Scott, you remember he took really that he came down pit road when he started really far up in the field here tonight. At 99, if you remember, he did start up.
Oh, hold on!
Fall.
Jordan Fisher has just tanked the outside wall, courtesy of Cosmo Ionoshu. Caution is out for the 3rd time or 4th time today. Stopped right in the middle of the circle. We just had one car go spinning to the inside. I think that was Sean Hughes, sorry. And somehow it's not going to be a disaster for Jordan Fisher.
Hard. Oh, that right front is, I think it's locked up. It looked maybe locked up there as he rolled it down the track. Because we're going to take a look back here to Ryan Newman and Associates, powered by Remax Select Replay. As these two, the 24 finally catching up to the 35, coming down the backstretch into turn 3. And
it's kind of hard to tell from that angle, isn't it?
I was going to say, I think the 35 might have thought the 24 would have went down a little further, but the 35 wasn't up necessarily against the wall as well. Maybe both of them trying to pinch each other and ending up colliding, as we'll take another angle at this. And also a testament to everyone getting around this wreck again, because I mean, the 75 goes around, but still. Oh, David Farrell almost got in there too. I just realized he got by.
Yeah. Oh, Fisher kind of pulled a bit of a block there and just wasn't up by the wall like I know she was expecting it.
Fisher locked it down and everyone able to at least get by. Not the cleanest or the most graceful way, but still.
They didn't hit him, though. That's the important thing here.
Exactly.
Well, this brings everybody down pit road. No surprise on this one. Right around the cue where you'd want that first change of tires. Applegate just barely beats Ionoshu off of pit road. And there is the rest of the field making their way back out of pit road. Let's get a ride on board with some of the drivers that had those near misses. We will start with Colton Easterday. Not the first near miss that he's had around the outside. First one with Justin Mello. This time, it was headed down into turn 3.
There's a select few drivers here tonight that have felt like they've been going through war trying to avoid these accidents, including the 95 of Colton Easterday, who might have. I don't even know how he got through that gap.
You could argue he did it because he clipped the wall, but I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. And this was Sean Hughes, one of our series rookies. He nearly spotted as well.
I think Easterday also was trying to see if he was going to roll down the track, and for the 75, I think he thought the exact opposite, where he was just diving down the inside. And really, if that grass wasn't there, I don't think the 70. Actually, I thought he would have went around there, but kept it forward to say the least, and out of the way of the 35.
An incredibly close call there for a couple of drivers, and that easily could have been a race ender for Jordan Fisher. Instead, he will be able to restart this race. Oh, that was a race ender. He's pulled into the garage.
Ooh.
Evidently, the damage he got from the initial hit may have been just a little bit too much.
That now brings a total of 33 cars on the lead lap, with Terrell Wheeler rounding out the running field right now, at least on the lead lap.
Coming back around into the Sunoco Fuels restart zone. Green flag back in the air as we cruise back towards turn 1.
This might be the first time the driver on that outside row was able to keep that second place position, as Ionoshu dived to that inside line, able to stay in front of Ethan Amberg. You can see they're getting a little more feisty for fourth there as James Goodwin got a little unsettled through 1 and 2. Matt Montembeau is going to try and take advantage here as everyone throughout the entire field, 2, 3 wide, 2 rows deep further on back here. Jason Garcia is just trying to battle his way through. Austin Weingart also back there.
Hold on! Look out, as now we're going to be 4 wide down the front straightaway. Garrett Austin squeezed. Jay Nipper saw there's a bit of contact in turn 3 to kick this off, but they're able to hold it together. And around back straightaway is James Goodwin. Up against the outside wall. The field scrambles. One more going to lose it in sympathy. It's the 04. Ryan Giertzma into the outside wall. He brings the yellow out. We got one more stop to the inside. It's Munatsi Major.
Nazi Major, who made his way from 28th up into the top 10, I believe, around the 7th place position, sent right around, and I think into that inside wall, trying to avoid the 11 of James Goodwin. We'll have to take another look to see here, and these drivers are not taking it easy after seeing these early cautions, to say the least. 4 wide on the front stretch, and then still a lot of drivers just getting unsettled on these cold tires, along with just pushing their way through.
This will be coming down into turn numbers 1 and 2. I thought it might be Major getting it to go, and it was not. It looks like maybe the 23 entry caught him. Major's behind this group. That's Austin Thompson on the bottom, and it is Thompson that gets in a good win. Major down to the inside. He had contact with Nicholas Cote, it looks like, here. And that is what is going to send him spinning. You can see him just exiting stage right on the inside. Then behind, Ryan Giertzma going to have to lock it down. But he is going to end up back into the outside wall as well, quite significantly as well, right into the turn 3 wall for the Camrose Fountain Tire 04.
And that 04 could have hit a lot worse areas, to say the least, but still that left side corner panel is not going to be feeling any types of good after that one, as we take another look back here, see exactly what happened. And I think the 11 just exited the corner a little further down. The 23 would have thought, and tried to pinch him, as we see the 04 trying to get around it, and I think just carried a little too much speed potentially there. And that Ford Mustang getting a little bit dented in the process is also Munatsi Major, able to recover down low outside of just having some flat spotted tires.
This is with the 82.
Just a slight contact with Nicholas Cote. It looks like it just pushed that nose enough to where it got a little uncomfortable in that 82. It's so hard to catch these next gens, even if it gets a little uncomfortable. And that 82 had to bring it down the inside line in the apron there. Able to save it, though, doing a great job of it. Reminiscent of what Justin Mello did earlier, but not sending it too far around comparative to the 53's incident earlier. And all that being said and done, still, you know, some drivers ending up with more damages than others, but relatively a very minor damage caution here as we come to lap 49.
Still bound to be a lot of Twisted Steel by the end of the day. And this race is brought to you by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Pluto is a solid punch of sweet and the heat flavor that lingers to let you know is there. Marty Pluto is an award-winning steak cook-off association steak cook, and has finally revealed his secret resting rub that will blow you away with flavor. Steak, veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. Martin Plute currently running number 8 on the racetrack right now. Your sponsor of the Disabled Aviator on YouTube 200, Nate Cotilla, meanwhile, back in 24th. He is up 5 spots after getting involved in some early calamity as well.
Some other drivers also started very far in the field. Jason Garcias and Cedarius Days have both found their way up into the top 15. Garcia starting 36th, up in the 12th. Cedarius Days starting in 37th and made his way up to 14th. So really, those two keeping it relatively clean and made their way up into the top half of the field. But all that being said and done, this is going to be an interesting one to see how these drivers react to these recent flurry of yellows.
Green flag coming out this time by, and once again, we hightail it towards the start-finish line and into green flag racing once more. Applegate like he has done all race long, pulling well clear of the field. Everyone else 2, if not 3, entering turn 1.
Inoshu able to defend to the outside, able to keep that second place position, and everyone behind still 2 wide for about 5 races. Oh, Matt Monta hard to the outside wall.
Oh, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're wrecking again. Big crash up in turn 4. They're still going around on the front straightaway.
Tim Branson involved. Everyone keeping it slow in the back half of the field, trying to just get through this. That 28 looked like he took a right-hander into that left-hand turn 3. We'll take another look at it. I mean, that was ferocious. Another ferocious hit here tonight in the early going.
Yeah, Matt Montembeau absolutely destroyed the outside wall in turn 3, and you saw that car pick up off the ground as well. Take another peek. This was the big one. Coming down, and we're looking for the driver of the 28. There he is. Nicholas Cote to his inside. Did he have help? No. Back end started to come around, and he just overcorrected heavy into the outside wall. Thompson got picked up off the ground. Pluke got involved with it with Josiah Vincent. Gracia turned off the nose of Days. Austin Thompson off of Josiah Vincent hard into the outside wall. And that brings them all together. Tim Branson lost it by himself on the inside, trying to avoid.
And both Jeremiah and Josiah Vincent are still trying to push their way into the playoffs here. So hard hit for both of them. And it's going to, make it a little more complicated here if you take another look. It's just that 28's overcorrection. And for the first time tonight, this is what I expected about 3 cautions ago, but the domino effect of all these drivers getting involved, some great fast cars that made it up through the field tonight, including that 81 and 23 involved. And you saw also further on back, there was some more calamity to say the least.
Take a look and watch Montembeau here. As he goes into the outside wall, look at just how high that car gets off the ground. Careens into the wall. That is, at least 3 wheels off the ground. The left front and both rears. And he carried that for quite a while before settling back down on all 4s.
You could say there's probably a microsecond or 2 after he hit the 23 that all 4 were off the ground, with how that front end was locked into the wall, and just another ferocious hit. A lot of G's, and again, thankful this is happening in the sim, because that wreck would have been hard action inside the cockpit with just the absolute G forces that would have been going through the driver's POV.
In turn 3. And there you see Matt Montembeau as he smokes the outside wall. And he had a bit of secondary contact. That was with Philip Scott before sliding to a stop against the outside wall. So nobody else got into the Top Golf number 28. He remained jammed up against that outside fence.
And I think right now also Philip Scott is, he is stuck in the back of the field where, he opted to go down pit road real early. Currently, he's sitting in 4th in points, but he hasn't been able to claw his way back through the field just because of these incidents. And I think for a lot of drivers up here, it's going to be just showing you want to have that track position, not only just so you're up here at the front, but also so you're avoiding all of this stuff happening further on back, because it just gets worse with each position you're behind, to try and get around some of these incidents like that last one. So all that being said and done, I think Cosmin Inoshu and Grant Applegate will happily be up here at the front with Ethan Amber, Nicholas Cote, and Joey Barrett currently in your top 5.
Still shy of halfway, working towards the end of, I believe, what is now our 7th caution of the afternoon. Green flag back in the air. And once again, it's a steady cruise into turn 1. Grant Applegate has led pretty much every single lap so far today, and is right now looking unchallengeable up front.
These drivers right behind him, Ethan Amber and Cosmin Inoshu, have not had anything for that 57, despite... Oh, Austin Weingart up off it, another 2-wheel drive up into the field. Tim Branson involved.
Again.
And think that's relatively it.
Caution's out again. This time it's Austin Weingard that brings out the yellow flag. And a tough break for Branson. Last time he was able to avoid most damage, gets spotted by himself. Was not lucky enough this time.
Sean Hughes also got in that, as we'll take another look back here with the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Remax Select replay, as a 41 just got loose on corner entry. Able to save it for the time being, but the 95 helped put the dagger in the back. And Mark McFadden up and under the 41. And yeah, that sends it right back up into the 92 and 75. Everyone keeping it straight right after that, but still some hard hits for those two up on the outside wall.
Yeah, no kidding. Tough break for a lot of drivers today. I know this is not the race that these guys are hoping to have. It's been a really rough season for the field in general. A lot of racing with high track temps and high wind conditions, making this season a doozy in terms of difficulty level for the guys out there. And we will continue to be pacing here this afternoon. So what we're going to do, we are going to take ourselves a step back. When we return, it is racing action on Green Flag TV. We are under caution once again at the Kansas Speedway. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Tonight's race is brought to you by Ryan Newman and Associates, powered by Remax Select. They believe that finding your dream home should be an exciting and seamless experience. Serving all of Michigan, their dedicated team brings years of expertise and a commitment to personalized professional service that makes buying or selling a home simple and stress-free. Whether you're a first-time buyer, seasoned investor, or looking anywhere in the United States, they can help by referring you to top professionals across the country. Trust Ryan Newman and Associates to guide you every step of the way. Your future starts there. Go make it a reality. Nearing the halfway point, only about 10 laps away from that halfway mark in this race as we continue to go at it for the disabled Aviator 200. Grant Applegate still leading the way. This time picking the outside lane for the restart.
Shaking it up, trying something new, see if that outside line can do anything here on the restarts. They haven't really been able to stay alongside that inside line, so we'll see if Cosmo 9 knows she was going to have light at the end of the tunnel as Grant Applegate leads the field to the restart zone and gets another great jump in front of the 24 and able to swing on down, and now Joey Barrett's going to try and follow suit.
Joey Barrett tucking in the line, though, for the number 3 spot. Cuts off the run from Ethan Amberg. And caution already. Didn't even get through turn 1 that time. Stacy Hunter with the Game Glass 71 entry into the outside wall. That. Oh, I was going to say it might give Corey Hutchinson the Game Glass lucky dog. I don't know if it did, though. He may have been involved in it.
It might go to Ronnie Norman here at some point. I don't know. Either way, another caution as we're coming up on the halfway point, and we'll take a look back here on the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Remax Select replay. Already 3 wide going across the restart or the start finish line with Ryan Gearsma to the outside of Stacy Hunter and Jake Nipperis right to the inside. And the 71 just got up into the 04 there. James Goodwin.
That's just clumsy.
Ooh. Yeah, I think just a little spatial awareness there is the wrongdoing for the 71.
Oh, and Hutchinson did get caught. So Hutchinson will not get the lucky dog free pass this time. Wonder if somebody didn't go off of that restart, because you don't usually see 3 wide unless there's been an incident. Oh, look at a huge check from the inside line. That may have been a contributing factor.
Really, that outside line where that all began was just really spaced out. Ooh, hard hit to the 21 of Hutchinson, and that is, I thought that left front was going to be locked up, but it looks like relatively able to at least keep rotating, but still hard hit for the 21, and we are going to be back under caution yet again. Grant Applegate tried that outside line and obviously worked for him, but, you know, we're going to keep on going and see what happens here. All that being said and done, Cosmo9 no-shoe. Also, Zachary Cox in that 51 we didn't mention before. You know, it is very... Yeah, we haven't talked about the 51 too much here this season up here at the front, as we see David Farella getting the game's last lucky dog. He's going to be able to get that 91 back on to... no, he's going to be 3 laps down. That 91 is going to be 3 laps down after this wave around, so a little bit more, hopefully, cautions for that 91 and everything he's hoping for. But all that being said and done, it's... you know, it has been a day for a lot of these drivers, to say the least. I also think Colton Easterday has a black flag. I don't know if he brought down pit road, but has a black flag nonetheless.
Grant Applegate, Cosmo9 no-shoe. First and second, Joey Baird, Ethan Amberg. Third and fourth, Cox and Coate. Fifth and sixth. Colton Easterday with a black flag, by the way, for the incident limit. He is going to have to come down pit road. Unfortunate news for him.
All that being said and done, another time for Grant Applegate to see if he can try and get a good restart. And, you know, coming out of the gates, the 57 has really no competition, to say the least, in these first 61 laps. And it's kind of been a great time for the 57. And pretty much, unless you're also maybe Ethan Amberg or Cosmo9 no-shoe, this field has been through war yet again. Each week just seems like a new war of attrition and a lot of mental battles for these drivers to try and get through some of these races. But here in Kansas, the 57 is going to lead the field back to the green flag. Everyone's stacking up slowly, but able to keep it on going here. Cosmo9 no-shoe, though, is going to keep it up with the 57.
Really, for the first time, I no-shoe able to challenge for the race lead into turn 1 on the restart. Anticipated Applegate's line well. Applegate up the racetrack, not able to clear down the back straightaway. So all of a sudden, could we be looking at our first lead change of the night? Not quite. Grant Applegate able to pull back clear in 3 and 4. Easterday quickly hustling to pit road. Oh, and trouble front straightaway. And around, hard hit for Austin Weingart. He collects Sean Hughes. Yet again, Weingart. Fast, like I said earlier on the broadcast, right? Very fast driver. Just cannot get the consistency.
And another unfortunate event for that 41 as we look back here again with the Ryan Newman and Associates Power by Remax Select replay. As Austin Weingart back here with Nate Cotilla and Munatsi Major. You know, very different storylines for these three, but still the wrong result. Colton Easterday gets real slow in turn 3 and 4 there. Caused this whole thing and the 41 to get real upset. Turns it back up in the traffic, and it does not end there as Jake Nipperis hard into that outside wall as well. And here comes the 75 to end the job.
One good news for Weingart, it was a glancing blow. It wasn't a square hit, so he might be able to, I mean, damage, yeah, but he might be able to kind of get away with that. You'd have to assess what the damage is in pit road. This is with Hughes. Watch up front. Easterday is slowing. He's trying to get down to pit road to serve his penalty, right? And, I mean, just a misjudged point for Easterday to try to slow down. And then, not sure if Easterday think he could have done a little bit more to slow up for that one, but you know, we talk about this one being a race of attrition, right? We talked about that a lot. We may as well start calling this one a season of attrition, because that is certainly what this one has felt like. Goodness gracious.
I think maybe some resolutions that didn't come to fruition here for some drivers trying to keep themselves straight here in this season and try to, you know, right now it just seems like if you have been consistently, not even fast, just more of keeping yourself consistent, keeping yourself consistently through just these wrecks, really just trying to keep yourself unscathed from a lot of things. As Stacy Hunter, the Game Glass machine, able to be the Game Glass lucky dog here tonight and get one of the laps back for that 71. But yeah, I think a lot of these drivers might be taking on the playoffs as maybe if you survive, you're at least going to be guaranteed a good position, and then that's where the speed comes into.
One lap to green. Set to race at this one out yet again. Halfway point. Just 2 laps away in this race, and then we will get 100 laps officially in the books. 38 cars started this race out of 39 qualifiers. 29 still remain on the racetrack, 27 on the lead lap. So we've lost about a quarter of the field in just the opening half of the race.
And with how so far this race has gone, much like Bristol, we could expect potentially a long green flag run once we weed out, you know, a lot of the aggressiveness that a lot of the drivers brought to Kansas. And I think it really opens the door potentially for some of these drivers who had somewhat the pace in those medium green flag runs to try and pull something out, as we are back to Green Grant Applegate yet again. Another great jump. Cosmin Ionoshu doing the same. He's able to slide into second in front of Joey Barrett, along with Zachary Cox there in fourth, trying to battle out with Ethan Amberg, but he's going to have to hold that outside line. He's going to lose out for the time being. Now Nicholas Coate looking to the inside as the top 3 are all single file. Now top 4 as the 14 slides up in front of the 51. Everyone else kind of shifting around as you see further through the field and serpentining a little bit throughout the field as well.
This time we'll get a lap in. As Garrett Austin to the inside, Justin Mello secures for 1 position. Looking like I think Minati Major actually just caught the outside wall as he's fighting down Terrell Wheeler. Oh, speaking of, Stan Hausman clipping doors with Ryan Newman.
Also, Terrell Wheeler, you got to remember, was part of some of the incidents earlier, and he's knocking on the door of the top 10 as well, has gone through the recent incidents and now battling out with Minati Major. Some of these other drivers mixing it up here with Justin Mello trying to hold off Ryan Newman, who has been powering his way up now into 10th. It was Grant Applegate continuing to have the speed, posting the fastest lap that time by Zachary Cox. Slowly falling through the field here. Now Garrett Austin is giving the 51 a run for his money, and he's going to get by in that 34 machine. And now Justin Mello going to look out his rearview mirror and see both Ryan Newman and now Stan Hausman as he's able to power on through, and he's going to try and keep that bottom line going. And really these two, the only two side by side in the top 12 as it stands. And it's getting, you know, a little more. Well, I'm going to not say anything, because the last time I said they were going to get comfortable, it ended up being bad. So we're not going to say anything right now.
Minati Major around the outside of Ryan Newman, Zachary Cox, and Justin Mello. Now they're continuing to fight this one amongst themselves as Mello, a driver that has been up, down, numerous times throughout the day. Trying to be more on the up as he goes around the outside of Cox and picks off 7th. Oh, and around goes Geertz behind the back. Oh, and a massive hit into the inside wall. Second car to slam into the inside. No caution. This one, though, remains on all four wheels.
Staying below the apron at 04, third time today we saw a ferocious hit here in Kansas, which is, you know, it does happen, but at the same time, these have been some nasty hits so far here. And now it's getting past the halfway mark as we look back on the replay of what happened with Ryan Geertzma.
And the Fountain Tire Machine out of control. He tries to turn it out of the wall, but at that point it is way too late. And right where the wall juts out to allow for that opening for safety vehicles. And that is going to cause him to rebound all the way towards the racetrack. And look at the left rear and how skewed out that is from the violence of that hit. On board. You saw him bobble just a little bit coming out of 2. And that was all she wrote. You didn't hear the engine pop. I think without that wheel damage, you could have potentially driven that car back to pit road.
Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, yeah, I think that 04 could have at least, you know, slowly got his way back to pit road, but still a ferocious hit for that 04, ending his night real quickly. And all that being said and done, not too much has happened on the track since we cut away, as Nicholas Coates trying to track down Garrett Austin, and Zachary Cox has now fallen back to 9th, trying to keep inside the top 10. He's currently last car in this lead group, and outside of Grant Applegate, who's now a second and a half in front of Cosmo Noshu and Joey Barrett, but still everyone else keeping up the fires. You see Minazzi Major burn some tire there to try and at least keep the momentum up with Justin Mello right behind, but all that being said and done, that 82 still trying to push his way through the field.
Coat looking to the inside of Garrett Austin, trying to send this one down early on as we are well and truly into the back half of the race. Justin Mello, Minazzi Major going to get themselves single filed out after Major was able to clear around the outside of the 53 entry. For the second time today, we're finally able to, I think, get into a bit more of a rhythm that we haven't been able to really find for much of the night.
Yeah, we haven't really been able to talk about, you know, how consistent or, you know, if some drivers are burning up too much tire or not, just because when you only have 1 or 2 laps of green flag running, you're not really burning up or like strategically doing anything at that time. It's more just getting through the openings and taking opportunities where you can find it. But, you know, when these drivers can get into now some sort of a rhythm, it's going to help them out a lot. And, you know, being behind the wheel, consistency, and also being in a little bit of a rhythm feels a lot more comforting than having to just worry about 2 wide restarts every 5 laps to say right now. But on this little green flag run so far, these drivers getting single filed out for the most part. And you got to remember, it's been a little bit for a lot of these drivers that have came down pit road. And despite if they took tires the last time they were down or not, these tires are still about 34 laps for the most part for these drivers up in the top half. So, you know, still consistently a little older. Granted, a lot of caution laps might have preserved them to the age of about half of those laps, but still, for these drivers, it's going to get a little more weary as every lap ticks by, and it's going to get even more harder to get some good positions and some good track battling here.
Jeremiah Vincent making a huge launch at the inside of Ryan Newman, wanting to go at this one in earnest as Vincent clears from the inside of Newman. Colton Lee Easterday just up the road. Easterday, of course, has been put through the ringer a few times this afternoon. Right now sitting 1 lap down, Easterday with the Game Glass Lucky Dog spot and just hoping to survive so that he can keep it.
And he's doing just that, as now Jeremiah Vincent's going to try and get around him. As you can see to the inside there, that 8 is right up next to the door of the 95, who's just trying to stay out of trouble now, because he's currently the only car allowed as it stands. They're getting real close.
I mean, if I'm easy, I'm just letting these guys go. You're already a lap down, right? I mean, there's no reason to be fighting these guys when you're just trying to hang on for a lucky dog spot, let alone getting so close. But he's just trying to fight back here.
Looks like it. That Gold Octopus Motorsports machine really trying to give the 8 a run for his money. It's been, also, when you're lap down, he's also in his own little realm. He's not battling for position with anyone, so maybe trying to get some reps. But yeah, just when he gets a little too aggressive and a little too close for comfort, that's when it might get a little smart to try and pull out of some of these battles, especially when you're up here near the top 10. So Colton Easterday still going to follow. Oh, Zachary Cox around on the apron in the infield. He's going to slide it back on the track. Stacey Hunter might have got involved as well. We are still green, though.
Yeah, Hunter down on the inside of the racetrack. Zachary Cox involved as well. I think potentially 2 separate incidents involved in this one. We'll jump back, see if we can find out what happened. This is coming to the max straightaway. There's Stacey Hunter. Zachary Cox nowhere in sight. There's Zachary Cox all the way behind. So yeah, 2 completely separate incidents at the same time. There is Hunter loose out of turn 2. Hard into the inside wall, just like we saw earlier for Geertsma. And then Zachary Cox just lost it in the middle of the back straightaway.
I mean, from that angle, the 51 had a little bit of time. He was trying to recover maybe out of the turn 2 exit and just spun it right around and flat spotted it, to say the least. As he's coming out of turn 2, you can see he just got the wiggles, just kept trying to battle that next gen, and just got sent right back around, and got a little glimpse of Stacey Hunter down there, and luckily able to keep it off of the racing line. And that 51 still relatively unscathed, other than some scuffed tires.
Josiah Vincent trying to get around Justin Melilo for the 8th place position. These guys fighting about 1 second behind Nicholas Coate, as Melilo jumps up to the high side. It's been a week. It's been a long week. It's been a long night. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, shoot. I was trying to think of a Forrest Gump analogy, but I couldn't think of one right now. I'm also in the ringer right now, like you said, and some of these drivers as well. So we'll keep on going for this battle for 10th with Jeremiah Vincent trying to track down his Vincent Motorsports teammate in Josiah Vincent right in front of him. But Stan Hausman's trying to make it a sandwich as he's stuck in the middle of these 2 and going to be able to take that position away. Philip Scott battling back up through the field, now into 12th, passing that in-season tournament winner of Jason Gracias right behind him. Colton Easterday, though, also still picking off some of these drivers that are on the lead laps, not making it easy, to say the least, for Philip Scott and company.
Yeah, Jason Gracias, of course, the winner of the Highline Diecast Collectibles Bracket Challenge just last week at Bristol, besting Terrell Wheeler, who crashed out of the final race of a 5-race 32-card bracket tournament. Sure, he's feeling mighty happy with himself. He was able to win the prize of $50 of in-store credit to Highline Diecast Collectibles. Want to point out that Grant Applegate, as dominant as he's been today, he has not been able to get the kind of a lunge you would expect to see from a driver that has led virtually every lap on the afternoon. I know she was keeping him very, very honest here.
I was going to say, Inoshu has been, he was about a half-second back. Granted, now it's pulling to almost that half-second feeling yet again. But that 24 hasn't really fallen off the back bumper. Also with Joey Barrett right behind him as well. You can see each lap slowly but surely reeling in that 57 after he had that momentous jump. Obviously, the 57 has a lot of repetitions on the short stints here so far and has only 1 real stint over 5 laps for the, get the feeling of what this car feels like over the course of a long green flag run. So if Cosmo Inoshu treats those tires right, he's going to be right there as well. But also don't forget about Joey Barrett and also Ethan Amberg clinging on to the draft as well. These drivers all trying to chase down that 57 machine, and you could see the 24 still gaining time, about 0.03 of a second, nothing considerable, but still that 24 slightly faster than the 57, in especially the 57 having that fresh air on the nose of that 57. It's going to be very momentous for the 50. Wow, I keep saying the 57, but the 24. I know she's going to catch up nonetheless.
Not too far away, I'd imagine, from pit stops as well, as we're working now lap 47 of this stint for the race leaders, and these guys about to start their 47th lap as well. If we get into the caution, we are absolutely going to be seeing a huge chunk of the field come down to pit road. There is Hausman trying to find his way around Jeremiah Vincent. Colton Easterday making it 3 wide down low, and we talked about how risky that is when he is already fighting as a lap car. Philip Scott jumping up to the outside line as well for the number 99.
Not willing to give an inch. That 95 has really been getting at least the reps in to when he does get his lap back, if he's able to keep out of the next incident. He's going to be relatively, it seems like have decent pace. But right now, these drivers are not going to be happy as they're 3 wide yet again. Colton Easterday on the inside of the 8 and 39. They had to actually get out of that whole ordeal. 95 able to cruise on through, and relatively now that 8 of Jeremiah Vincent and Stan Hausman now can go 2 wide for this 11th place position. The 39 able to slide up. He's not going to take the nose off of the 8, to say the least, but the 8's going to roar on back, have that momentum on the outside line, and keep on pushing. Probably not too happy as the 8 was getting into that outside wall and getting put 3 wide at the same time. Everyone got out of sorts, especially like you said, Nolan, these older tires, and everyone's starting to think the pit window's open. Do I dare come down pit road, or do I wait for the next caution to come out? Because it's starting to come into play, and I think, it wouldn't be the smartest idea, I think, to come down pit road. It would just be a very high stakes, high reward situation.
Scott and Vincent continue to fight it out, and we've also got to fight for the lead. Cosman Inosha has just mounted an offensive around the outside of Grant Applegate. Applegate's going to try to take that lead back from the inside, and in a green flag run for only the second time today, we are already seeing a fight for the race lead, and for the first time today, Inosha officially will lead a lap. Justin Mello, right on cue, comes down pit road, wanted to split this stint in half.
The 24 getting slightly into the wall there, maybe a little bit stuck, but still this battle ongoing. You remember we mentioned before, Inosha won the last time this Speed Cup Series made their way out to Kansas, and that 24 roaring on an outside line now with some solid pace with the green flag runs. But here comes Joey Barrett and Ethan Amberg into the photo now. 0.4 of a second, split the top 4, and these two at the front gonna keep themselves nose to nose. Grant Applegate using that inside line to take the shorter way around, but the 24 is gonna get the momentum of that outside line to clear the 57 and securely take that top spot as he's gonna roar on down, and these 4 now gonna try and make themselves. Ooh, it looks like maybe Joey Barrett's sticking his nose to the inside of the 57 as well.
Ethan Amberg coming down pit road. He wants to make his trip into the box. Maybe try to undercut these guys and fight it out for the top spots. 40 laps to go at the Kansas Speedway. And starting to see a more earnest race developing now for Inosha, Barrett, and Applegate. Now these guys have had a chance to really stretch out the stints, and Applegate was strong early on, but once again, Cosman Inosha flexing that long run pace. And Inosha at the moment chasing what will be win number 9 of his Speed Cup Series career.
Applegate and Munazzi Major bringing it down pit road. And you can see slowly but surely this entire field's going to bring it on down, and now we have it's going to settle out to the top 12 are going to be staying out on the green flag laps. Actually, top 11 will be the ones that are staying out of pit road for the time being, Applegate being the first of the bunch. You can see Garrett Austin, Ryan Newman also coming down pit road, and everyone currently a lap down with the fresh tires, trying to log some good laps if they're not in traffic. And also, it was mentioned before, but a lot of these drivers might have not practiced green flag pit stops. And if you did not, luckily yet, it looks like a lot of drivers are able to keep it unscathed, but keeping it fast on pit road is going to be another subject.
I don't blame drivers for not wanting to practice green flag pit stops either. I mean, especially with the way the opening half, or really the opening 2/3 of this race was developing, it wasn't look like we were ever going to get to this point. But they're having to really work with it now. Jeremiah Vincent now fighting with Nate Cotilla. So 4th and 5th place up for grabs here. Of course, this will cycle through eventually. Over half the remaining field has come down pit road by now under green. Still waiting on 10th on up.
And you got to think if you're Cosmonai and No Shoe or Joey Barrett, those two at the front. When Grant Applegate or Ethan Amberg, you'd see Amberg was able to pass up Grant Applegate just because coming in one lap before the 57 was all the difference. And here comes the top two. Jason Garcias inherits the lead with Nate Cotilla, Jeremiah Vincent, and Adam Kulikowski are going to keep on going along with Jake Niparis. But all that being said and done, these drivers hoping for that yellow flag to try and get some great field position. And for the time being, Jason Garcia sitting in a good position, but losing a lot of time compared to the rest of the leaders. You can see right behind the 5 of Nate Cotilla here is that 14 of Ethan Amberg, and you're going to see how fast those fresh tires are compared to some of these drivers trying to stick it out.
Ethan Amberg right now 1.3 seconds clear of Grant Applegate, a driver that was fighting for the race win just a little while ago. That is off of just a 1-lap undercut between him and the 57. He's going to get around Cosmo Inoju just fine as well. So right now it is looking like Ethan Amberg will become the net race leader. Inoju, oh no, and he's turned down the pit road as he cut off Jeremiah Vincent. And that spins him around, comes to a stop in turn 3. And this throws a wrench into the entire race.
Wow. And it is going to leave Adam Kulikowski, well, it looks like he's a lap down, so it's going to leave the top 6 with a great move to stay out, to say the least. But let's take a look back here at the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Rewax Select replay as we saw it live. And was just, I think, miscommunication to say the least.
I mean, Inoju just goes up the track and blocks the 8. Vincent tried to cut low to get around him. I mean, I'm sorry, you can't do that when the guy's coming up on you with like 40, 50 miles an hour of extra speed. I don't know what he thought was going to happen there. I think he was trying to block Applegate from like getting the ability to turn into the corner, but I mean, good grief.
Yeah, it is a... I think the 8 might have thought he was going to try and block the... I mean, yeah, I don't know what he was going to try and do to the 57 there, and I don't know if maybe there wasn't a call to say, like, the 8 was behind the 57. I don't know. Nonetheless, the 24 putting the ultimate squeeze job to say on the 8 and just left them nowhere to go except for the back bumper of that 24.
I'm having a hard time. I mean, I know usually, you know, the saying goes it's up to the faster car to get around a slower car like that, but I'm having a hard time seeing anything that Vincent really did wrong there.
Nonetheless, going to shake up this field with a lot of new names going to be up at the front. You can see a couple of them that brought it down pit road, but yeah, it throws a wrench in a lot of strategies. And I think right now, the one driver outside of Cosmo Noshu and Jeremiah Vincent that's going to be real upset about this is Grant Applegate, because he was sitting up front pretty easily, and then, you know, right now with this caution going to have to sit behind Ethan Amberg, who also was going to inherit the lead with a 1.5 second difference from those green flag stops. So that 14 definitely not happy as well. But all that being said and done, just, you know, with 33 to go now, we saw a decently good green flag run, and Nolan, you know, coming to 32 to go now this time by. Do you foresee this going green till the end?
Who knows? It could go either way. Credit to look at all the cars that have to get waved around the pace car for this. So many drivers that to stay out to keep from going a lap down. This is a dream situation, though, for drivers like Gracias and Cotilla, who can now not only be up front, but the fastest cars on the racetrack on fresh tires.
There's only 4 cars up here. Yeah.
Everyone else will get waved around. And they're not going to, I would say they have to extend this caution by a lap because they're not going to catch them. And you just saw the lights come back on, so we have extended the yellow. That's a wise idea because they're in turn 4 already. And look at these, they're not even around turn 2 yet, trying to catch the tail end of the field.
Then after that, they have to catch up, get in line, make sure they're not, causing any grief on this restart. So yeah, smart call to say the least to extend this caution by 1 lap. And now we're going to have a whole bunch of new faces up at the front, including Jason Gracias, Nate Cotilla, Jeremiah Vincent, James Goodwin, Jake Nippers, Jason Shu. Those 6 were not in the top 5 before that caution and have now made their way up into the top 6 until you look back to Grant Applegate with Ethan Amberg. And I think everyone's going to have to stay on that inside line just because they got waved around. So that inside line is going to be not even maybe into turn 3 when this restart comes, or when they restart here.
Top 5 all came down pit road under this yellow flag. 6th on back. Had to stay out to avoid going 1 lap down. Still have 22 on the lead lap. 27 of 38 running on the racetrack. This time we've gotten things lined up correctly. So they'll come around through turn numbers 3 and 4, and we will get set to do it all over again.
Jason Garcias, Nate Cotilla, Jeremiah Vincent, James Goodwin. Gonna bring us back to the green flag, and that one machine is gonna be leading off through the start finish line for his first lap under green flag conditions. Led here tonight, everyone else trying to follow on through.
Ethan Amber, black flag for passing before the line. He was not in the correct position, and so Amber is gonna be forced into pit road here. A lot of cold tires. Amber will be slow, and that has been cleared. I think a potential glitch on the timing and scoring side, so Amber will be allowed to stay on the racetrack and keep fighting these guys for positions, now with under 30 laps to go.
Garcia's going to be able to be clear, and you can see the battle further on back here as Nate Cotilla is falling back slowly here. Colton Easterday also pushing his way up through the field, still in that 95, not on the lead lap, but still that does not detest him as he's going to be able to get in front of Nate Cotilla, slow him up a little bit to give Grant Applegate the opportunity to look to the inside of that 5 machine as they come through turns 3. Everyone else filing on back. Jake Nipper is falling back here to the 10th place position, and now 11 cars in this front pack. Oh, around goes Philip Scott.
Spins. Oh, we got a big mess on the front straightaway. Huge hit to the outside wall for Vincent, for Hausman. Cox collected. Newman collected. The big one entering turn number 1. And that started with Philip Scott.
And 99 was battling for 12th, and just all started there, where we'll have to see what happened here with the Ryan Newman and Associates powered by Remax Select Replay. But that 99, you remember he did start in 10th and then battled his way up to relatively that position. And then you could see with Austin Weingard, who also has been battling through some of these problems here today. And that's actually where it begins. He gets loose and tapped by the 41 and hard front end damage to that 99. And then the 41 starts this little snowball effect.
Oh, nearly sent the 4 barrel rolling through the infield grass. Collected Hausman and sent him hard into the outside wall. There's Cox getting collected. Huge T-bone hit for Ryan Newman. And Terrell Wheeler was able to slip through unopposed.
Take another look here, see what happened to the 99. And, it all started with the 41 getting a little bit loose, and 99 was going to try and maybe squeeze him a little up there. But that 4 got airborne. Probably the 5th time, at least, we've seen drivers get 2 wheels off the ground here tonight. Stan Hausman hard into that outside wall. You can see he's down pit road along with Zachary Cox and everyone else that got involved there.
There's Austin Weingard with the hit to Philip Scott. And then watch as Weingard comes back across the racetrack right into Josiah Vincent, and look at how this car is going to pitch up at an angle. I mean, that is all 4 wheels off the ground. That easily could have dug in and began a terrifying tumble down the front straightaway. Instead, he settles it back down onto all 4s after a bounce or two, fires him across the track right into the path of Stan Hausman, and that is a massive hit right into the passenger side door as well.
Gnarly hit, and you can see the roof flaps coming up on that 4, able to keep it at least from going airborne as well. And there's a lot of angles from these drivers that were, trying to battle on the backside of this field here to try and make their way up through. And you can see it all starts up there, and then all of a sudden you have to look to your left, and here comes the calamity.
He got hit. He got tagged on the back end. And that hit is actually what saved Ryan Newman from getting involved. Watch this here again, because this is a wild thing to see. So there's Jason Gracias, there's Stan Hausman, and as they're spinning around, watch as Wheeler comes up the track here. Right there, he gets clipped by a Weingard, and because of the angle that he went, when Vincent rebounds across the track, while Cox doesn't avoid him, Wheeler does. For once, an actual piece of lucky contact getting involved in an incident.
What a blessing in disguise for the 43, to say the least. And, that they'll take it any day. That 43, lucky having maybe an angel here in Kansas. With 25 to go, definitely going to be thanking the Lord to keep his way out of that big incident that included a lot of drivers. So it's we'll see what happens here. Hopefully we keep all 4 wheels on all drivers here to end it, with now 25 to go, coming to 24 to go. But Jason Garcia is going to lead the field with Jeremiah Vincent right in tow, with Ethan Amberg and 11 of James Goodwin in those top 4. It has been a lot of different pathways to get here, along with Nate Cotillo right there as well. But right now, all these drivers have in mind is trying to get to the top step of that podium, as we are green yet again here in Kansas.
Green flag back out in the air as the field hightails it to turn 1. Everyone fanning down 2 and 3 wide as we get to the back straightaway. So far, everyone's playing nice, but I feel like we are still not out of the woods with yellow flags yet, given how late into the game we are at this point. James Goodwin being pushed by Grant Applegate. Applegate wants to get a move on here. He wants to go, have a chance to retake that lead, while the HLDC Bracket Challenge winner continues to lead the way.
And really right now, he knows that at least that 14 has the pace to keep up with the 57. But really all these other drivers, he's not really been too far around for this race so far, but he's just trying to pick them off one by one. 3 wide here. Nicholas Cote, Munazzi Major, James Goodwin. Goodwin is very slow coming out of 4. He's losing a lot of positions here. He's falling back to 8th and now potentially 9th with Joey Barrett to his outside. Garrett Austin also right there as well. You can see Nate Cotillo also falling back a little bit here on that outside line. And everyone's still keeping it forward, getting a little aggressive with these fresh tires, and only 22 to go. The pressure is on, and it is still hot on track, but in these drivers' cockpits, they are probably trying to just keep themselves cool and under pressure here, as some drivers up, it looks like Grant Applegate and Munazzi Major trying to figure out for fourths of contact. Joey Barrett falls down the timing table.
Was not the only one to have to drop back, but we're able to yet again survive just one more lap. Applegate cutting through the field. He just got around Nicholas Cote. Tried to look for the over-under on the Powerade Camaro of Munazzi Major. Colton Easterday and Terrell Wheeler, meanwhile, duking it out right behind as Justin Mello hanging strong on the inside of the racetrack in 8th.
Take that spot away from that machine, and now James Goodwin's going to have to keep himself to the backside of the 53 iRacing machine. Is really, he's going to just keep it going with Garrett Austin also making an appearance here in the top 10. Colton Easterday, who's finally back on the lead lap, now is going to be in 11th right behind these three as well, and able to battle for position now. So that 95 able to use his speed to good use now, as he's going to be trying to crack the top 10. And further up, it looks like Cosmo9 No Shoe has caught up to Grant Applegate, and those two real familiar with each other early on in this race and still not getting away from each other with 19 to go.
Well, Applegate got a good run going, so it looks like he may have... Oh, caution! And it's Cotilla around on the back straightaway.
And Garcia's definitely wanted to keep that green because Amberg was coming in a hurry, but still, that one machine going to bring it and lead the field to the green after this restart as we look back here at the replay with Terrell Wheeler, Nate Cotilla coming out of turn 2. And I think the over-under was trying to happen, but maybe the air got taken off the backside of that 5, and a little bit of help from the 43 sends him to the inside apron, and for once, able to lock it down and not get contact to the front end of that Ford Mustang.
Pretty surprised that was a caution. I mean, it didn't throw a yellow flag for Jesse Gordon going barrel rolling down there earlier today, so... Yeah, who knows? Maybe iRacing's got some sponsorship bias here this afternoon. But I tell you what, we are into the final stages of this race, and with this race still having a lot left in it, we're gonna once again take a step back. We return. Race Action continues on Great Flight TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flight TV, where racing action is set to kick up in just a little while longer. This race brought to you by Beer Street Journal, one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal has paved the way to enabling category growth, engaging the broader consumer base, and promoting better tasting beer for years to come. BeerStreetJournal.com, the best in beer. On top of that, one, an easy to wear bow tie, no strap, and just slide it over the top button of your shirt and go. They are great for all ages. Get yours today at bowties.org. Just seconds away from the green flag coming back out once again. And Brad, this race has been a bit of a doozy.
Another week of attrition for a lot of these drivers, but, you know, another week of, I think, going into the playoffs, I think a lot of these drivers will cherish the position they're currently in, at least as track position, we should say, with Jason Garcias in that one machine, starting in 36th, all the way up into the first place position by virtue of a strategy call to stay out late during that long green flag run, gave him the virtue, along with a couple other drivers in Jeremiah Vincent and Munazzi Major. But also, you can't forget about Ethan Amberg, who has shown speed this whole race, and Cosmo9 No Shoe right behind him as well. So a lot of different strategies and a lot of different ways these drivers have made their way to the front. But the track position right now with 15 to go is going to be their best friend, as the one of Jason Garcia is going to lead the field back to the restart zone, and we are green yet again.
I feel that this run's not going to last long, though, because right now, 7 of the top 8 did not come down pit road under that yellow flag. Everybody else did, so they're going to be on some of these drivers up to a 25-lap deficit on tires. So anticipating this one to be a bit of a hotly contested race. Branson and Terrell Wheeler with black flags. We'll see if those get cleared or if they're going to be forced to serve them. Well, Terrell Wheeler's just spun into towards the inside wall. He keeps it out of the fence. Justin Mello up against the outside wall with some cold tires. Adam Kulikowski and Joey Barrett making a little bit of door-to-door contact as they make their way around Justin Mello.
Yesterday, another three-wide action. Nicholas Coate door-to-door with Mello. Garrett Austin choosing that inside line, giving a lot of distance to those two up above. Still three-wide. Garrett Austin's going to back out, though, and go to the high line. Kulikowski gets his nose dropped.
Oh, boy. Oh! Major slams the wall in turn 3. And we might not be done yet. I think Grant Applegate may have caught him. He was slow off of turn number 4. Major still running here in this one. But something tells me he's going to be forced into pit road because that right front completely disconnected off the car. He has to come to pit road. There's no way to keep it on the racetrack. He's into the wall again.
Yeah, that 82 had a great run going, but that front right is locked up now with everyone up at the front. Still keep it on going. We still keep going green as you see Adam Kulikowski. He is currently in 15th with Mark McFadden back there and just everyone else trying to make their way through the field here for the battle to the front as well.
This is what happened to Minazzi Major. Lost it by himself. Hooks hard right into the outside wall. And that causes Grant Applegate to get loose. But a wild save for Applegate down on the apron. And then that was Tim Branson fresh out of pit road. Same with Terrell Wheeler.
Unless we keep it green, we keep it going. Jason Garcia's loving to see this green flag action. He's trying to pull away from the end of Jeremiah Vincent and company. Kazanaya No-Shoe has got his way around Ethan Amberg. And look at that 95 of Colton Lee Easterday broke his way into the top 5. He's got a decent distance to get to that backside of the 14. He's about a second up the road before you get back here to Nicholas Coate and Garrett Austin, who battling out for 6th. Nicholas Coate not afraid to try to push his way through the field right now. But still up at the front, Jason Garcia's not looking back one bit as he's got 4/10 of a lead over Jeremiah Vincent.
10 laps to go here today. And Minazzi Major is still trying to putt around it. I think Major realizes that that car is effectively done for. The problem is he has a meatball flag. If he doesn't serve that in 3 laps, he's going to get disqualified.
Fate worse than just trying to bring it down pit road. The 82 has to bring it down pit road at this point. And with how many laps he's been circling right now, he's got to bring it down, I believe, this time by, or else face the pain of being disqualified. As you see, the leader's going to be catching up to him. He's keeping it on the apron, thankfully, but he is, well, I guess we'll see if the 82 decides to be disqualified or he'd rather bring it down pit road this time by.
This is the nervous moment here because that car is struggling to turn left right now. He is slow enough that he can keep it on the apron. And he is going to drag into the pit road. So he will not get disqualified, but his race could very well be over. Only 8 to go as Justin Mello cruises to the inside of Philip Scott.
Scott on the outside, Mello on the inside. Mello has been up and down the timing table. Same with Philip Scott. Both found their way here to 12th, though. The 99 on the outside, trying to get past Zachary Cox, who's on that outside wall. Not for position, no, as the 53 is going to use that pick and roll option, able to get by the 51 and the 99 in quick succession. And now Philip Scott, who seems to be a little bit out of sorts here, still trying to keep his position against Jake Nippers and company. Ronnie Norman able to get by him, not on the same lap, though. He's going to still let the 32 by, and the battle up here for the 3rd place position in the final podium position spot still ongoing, as these two about 3/10 behind Jeremiah Vincent, who's still trying to track down Jason Garcias, but he is slowly checking out from these guys.
Yeah, right now, No-Shoe keeping a real strong momentum, looking forward with the Tiltify aftermarket, or aftermarket coffee Camry. Jason Garcias, your bracket challenge winner, continuing to remain out in front. Very surprised that we have not seen more of a difference on tires here between the drivers that pitted 11 lap skill versus those that are on 20 lap older tires. It'll take 5 to go And at this point, it's Gracias' race to lose.
Yeah, it's really just if fate will allow the one to win here this week as we look back to the battle again for 12th. Justin Mello falling back to the trenches of the 99 of Philip Scott, who's going to try to go on the outside again here and be able to get a momentum coming out of turn 2. You can see some friends behind the 99 of Jake Nipperis out of Kulikowski, trying to see if they can get some spots as well in the final closing laps here. The 99 in the wall, going to let the 53 by again. These two just giving each other the 12th place position, not really letting them keep it for long, as Jake Nipperis now joining in on the fight.
Nipperis looking for the inside line. Philip Scott, you saw a twitch, but he'll hold it against the outside wall. Right behind them, Zachary Cox fighting the loose race car. Just wanted to keep his car on the racetrack. He finished this race after being caught 9 laps down. He's actually chasing 23rd, by the way. Only 2 laps back with 3 to go. He can still come out of this one with a 23rd place run. That's why you see him still on the racetrack.
And even if you get in the early cautions, obviously, if you keep it out on the track and you can end up, not like the 51 has been around all day, but middle of the race had some problems. But as we look back up here to the battle for now 3rd, as Jeremiah Vincent has fallen back 2 positions, maybe 3 with Colton Lee Easterday right there as well. Coming to 2 to go. That 8 is going to be trying to hold on for any position he can right now.
Jason Gracias hunting into turn numbers 1 and 2. Gracias, a driver with 10 wins under his belt and around. Gonna go Vincent and takes Easterday with him. Will this force a caution? It does, and it's overtime. Gracias was looking for the white flag, and he was feet away, only about a quarter mile. But now he's gonna have to hold on for 2 more laps.
His heart has to be in his stomach for that one. Of Jason Gracias had smooth sailing ahead, but these two of Jeremiah Vincent and Colton Lee Easterday got feisty coming out of turn 2 as we look back at the replay.
And once again, I mean, credit to Easterday. This time he was on the lead lap, so was fighting Vincent for position, but all the same, I mean, it's just too much aggression.
And granted, I mean, Nolan, you brought up the point of these drivers on the fresher tires, but no one, I mean, Nicholas Coate being the first on those fresher tires, now sitting in 4th. It's going to be, I don't think the tire advantage is going to help too much with only a green-white checkered potentially, as you see that onboard with Colton Lee Easterday just sent the 8 right around. And even though we've seen less bring out the caution, and also we've seen a lot more that didn't bring out the caution, nonetheless, still a caution on lap 2 to go is going to bring a lot of different drivers to potentially win this race.
So a 2-car tango over in turn number 2. Headed to the back straightaway. Sit rep, Gracias, Inoshu, Amberg on 33 to 40 lap old tires. Coate in 4th with 17 lap old tires. Barrett is 36. And then 17 lap old tires all the way back to 10th place runner Justin Mello. Take a look at what's coming up here on Green Flag TV. It's a triple header on Saturday with twin endurance races in the afternoon. The VSA Sports Car Championship will swing out to the Virginia International Raceway. Alongside them, the FTR Almeida Racing Academy Endurance Series will be kicking off for a 4-hour race at the Autodromo Internacional do Mugello on Saturday. Then on Saturday night, the SRA IEL Truck Series will be out at the Rockingham Speedway. Sunday, we'll see the Blazing Pedals Truck Series take to the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona, while Motor City Racing, with just 3 races to go in their championship, will swing to the Iberian Peninsula. They will be racing at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. On Monday, it's a new adventure kicking off at the Belgian Sim Racing Federation. Their Esports Clio Cup just came to a dramatic close at Circuit Zolder 1 week ago. They will be kicking off the Formula 4 Championship. 4 20-minute races, 2 for AMs, 2 for Pro. That will be at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal on Monday afternoon. And then that evening, the Collegiate Iverson UNOH College Cup Series heading home to Homestead Miami Speedway at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Monday night. Seconds away here from our first overtime attempt of the day. First of two. Jason Gracis leading the way. He is by far going to be the one to beat. He has been good since he took the race lead early on.
Inoshu and Amberg had the pace early, but Garcias has been fast when he's got that fresh air on the front of that one machine. And we'll see if that one is going to be able to hold off these heavy hitters along with Nicholas Coate on those somewhat fresher tires.
Coming around to the Sunoco Fuels restart zone. Green flag back into the air. Jason Garcias hightailing it down towards turn number 1. The question is, can he hold on? He is looking for a race win. He has not gotten one since June of 2025 at Michigan.
Not giving any draft to either of them as he serpentines down the backstretch with Ethan Amberg. Cosman Inoshu still battling that one, is hoping to not see a caution here. He's got one turn to get to the white flag.
3/10 clear. Now all he's got to do is bring it home. One lap to go for Jason Gracias. Ethan Amberg hot on his heels as they fight their way down to the back straightaway. Amberg under 5 from Inoshu for the number 2 spot behind. But Amberg pulling clear. Cotilla around to the back straightaway. He's going to slide all the way to the inside of the racetrack and jump outside of the top 10. Jason Gracias out of turn 4. Checkered flag is waving. Gracias, first win in almost a year to get it done on Green Flag TV.
Joey Barrett slides into the last step of the podium for third, passing Cosman Inoshu right at the end. But what a drive, all spurred from that green flag decision from the one to stay out, and the caution came out and it perfectly played into Garcias's hands, and now he's going to be able to take away a win for the first time in 10 months.
Not since he took the race win to get himself a championship. Closing out the 2025 A season has this number 1 car been to victory lane. He has come close. He got a 5th place finish last week, a 5th place finish at Martinsville, a 4th at Phoenix, a 2nd at Darlington in August later on that year. Man, what a journey for this number 1 car, and I'm sure he is looking for more here this afternoon. His first podium since August of 2025 as well, so I'm sure he is a very happy camper. Got the bracket challenge win, and on top of that, his first win to boot, and that makes it 11 in his 71st start.
And was sitting 15th in the point standings, and to say the least, he will be rocking near that cutoff line for the chase here in 3 weeks' time after this race now. But Jason Garcia's burning it down here in Kansas.
This race one that he sorely needed this afternoon, and we'll get the chance now to get a rundown of your official post-race results at the end of a attrition-filled race once again at Kansas. Jason Garcia takes home the win with Ethan Amberg down in 2nd place. Joey Barrett finishes his race in 3rd. Inoshu in 4th. Nicholas Coate back in 5th. Grant Applegate in 6th. Then it's James Goodwin, Philip Scott, Justin Mello, and Garrett Austin rounding out the top 10.
Going through the rest of the lead lap drivers, Adam Kulkowski, Colton Lee Easterday, Jeremiah Vincent, Jason Shu, Jake Nipris, Tim Branson, Mark McFadden, and Nate Cotilla is going to round out your lead drivers on the lead lap in 18th. First car lap down is Ryan Newman, followed up by Terrell Wheeler, finishing in 20th.
21st place, you have David Ferrella in 21st. 22nd was Ronnie Norman, also 3 laps down. And then Zachary Cox, the last driver finishing this race, in 23rd. From the garage, from 24th on down, is Manati Major, Stan Housen, Josiah Vincent, Austin Weingard, Stacey Hunter, Ryan Geertzma, and Sean Hughes.
And pushing through the final recipients here tonight: Corey Hutchinson, Sidarius Days, Austin Thompson, Martin Plute, Matt Montembeau, Jordan Fisher, Jesse Gordon, Scott Leonard, and Ernie Ludwig rounding out your field here tonight.
Bottom 2 cars did not take to the green flag here this afternoon. And we'll get the chance now to give a chit chat with the drivers that finished this race, numbers 1, 2, and 3 this afternoon. We'll, of course, try to kick things off first and foremost with your race winner. Jason Garcia is here today, as it is going to be the driver for the race wrap guy, number 1 Chevy Camaro, taking home victory for the first time in a long time. It's going to be the driver here of the number 1, taking a victory lane for the first time in 10 months on Green Flag TV. Jason, you finally break a long streak, and this has got to feel good to finally be back into the victory lane here today.
Yeah, definitely does. It's been, tell you what, you never know when your last one's going to happen, so I'm going to enjoy this one. It's been long 10 months, but in that time, a lot of life changes have happened for me. So this one's for my brand new baby girl. So I know she's asleep, not watching, but this one's for her.
You, of course, were 15th place in the points entered today. This race win going to definitely help your prospects on fighting your way into the chase for the Cup here in just 3 weeks' time. Do you reckon you can keep those momentum rolling forward and still make a championship run at it?
I'm going to try. I think what's going to hurt me is I'll need some provisionals later in the season. So I'll try, and hopefully we'll see where it goes. If not, making the chase, I think, would be a win here.
And, of course, we didn't get the chance to talk to you last week, but you were also the winner of the in-season Highline Diecast Collectibles Bracket Challenge. How does it feel to, fight your way through what was an absolute slugfest of a 5-race tournament to, take out Terrell Wheeler and get yourself the win in there as well?
Tell you what, it feels great. I did what Ty Dillon couldn't do in real life. I went from C32 to win the tournament. Now I'm looking to make my way into the chase, so hopefully Alex Bowman can have some of this good momentum on his side too, and hopefully he can come in the real life points and make it into the chase as well.
Well, you've won championships before. We'll see if you can do it again when we go racing later on, and we'll see you next week for more racing on Green Flag TV, Jason.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that puts the league together. Thanks to Speed, Stan, Ryan Newman Associates, Brookfield Hospital, Highline Diecast. Thanks to Race Wrap Guy for the cool paint schemes, and thanks to Green Flag TV for the broadcast. So look forward to next week.
That was Jason Garcia coming home number 1 this afternoon. Brad, you've caught up with Ethan Amberg, our runner-up today.
I'm down here on pit road with Ethan Amberg. Third time he's joining us up here in the booth. 5th top 5 result for the 14 so far this season. And Ethan, considering the track conditions coming into Kansas today and everything considered, was getting on the podium on your bingo card here, or was the expectation more or less that?
It was hot and windy on the plains today, that's for sure. But Kansas is always a good track for me. The Highline Diecast Collectibles Go Sim Racing Mustang with Highline Motorsports was real quick today. I felt like I could save tires pretty well and start reeling people in at the end of runs when we got them. The racing was around me tonight, super clean and fun, so I really did end up having a good time regardless of not being able to pull out of a win. Strategy ended up coming into play at the end there with a yellow coming in the middle of the pit stop cycle, so played out for an interesting result. It was a good time.
I was gonna say, during that long green flag stint that turned into green flag caution or green flag stops, you got in the pit road first out of the top 4 and pulled out to a very impressive lead. And it seemed like you had the best stop out of the top 4 whenever it came to green flag stops. Was that something you were practicing throughout the week, or just throughout practice overall?
Yeah, during the little practice session we had on Tuesday night and the pre-race one that lasts about an hour before we start running, before we go green, I practiced it a handful of times. I prefer to be cautious getting on pit road here because it's really easy to miss it. I've missed it before in a race here. So I kind of had my braking point in mind where I wanted to hit, and I hit it. And I felt like I was probably a little overcautious, but that undercut there ended up playing out really well. I had caught those guys at the end of the run, but knew with the only 5-6 laps of fuel I had on board, I probably wasn't going to be able to pass them all. So I played the next best option.
And with a wild card in Talladega, you could say next week, and after that Texas, and then the Glen. How are you feeling with those 3 races going into the chase after that?
Plate tracks are always a wild card. You got to go into them hoping it's going to be a good time and you're going to have a good finish, but still got to play things right. Still got to take care of the car. You never know when something's going to land in your lap. So got to be aware and hope things go, but you can't really go in there with too much of a plan, or otherwise it'll come crumbling down. So next week's kind of crapshoot. We'll see what happens at Talladega, but we'll go into Texas with a little bit more confidence. Probably. I like Texas. I like driving Texas. I think watching Texas to most NASCAR fans is maybe a little more boring than it used to be, especially in the current car. But it's a fun track to drive. It's difficult. You drive both ends of the track totally different, so it takes a little bit of focus and poise to do it. So I'm excited for that, and a road course is always a good time. So looking forward to those last 2. Talladega is a little bit take it or leave it here and there, but last 2 races will be good.
Well, congratulations again on the 3rd podium of the season so far. And got a little points on Cosman 9 no shoe, but all that being said and done, Ethan, thanks for joining us up here in the booth, and have a great night.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks to all the league sponsors as well for getting us out here tonight, having a good time. Thanks to you guys for keeping us entertained.
And that was your 2nd place finisher from Highline Motorsports, Ethan Amberg, in the 14, continuing his great run so far this season. We're going to toss it back up in the booth with Nolan, who's caught our 3rd place finisher, Joey Barrett.
Yeah, Joey Barrett will bring it up with the bow ties machine down in 3rd here today. And Joey, a good run for you this afternoon as you bring the Vincent Motorsports 97 entry into a 3rd place run here this afternoon. First podium, I think, for you in quite some time as well.
Oh, I didn't notice. Actually, it's my first one ever. So.
Is it really? Well, congratulations. I could have swore you had at least one.
Nope. First one.
Well, congratulations on your first podium then with the Speed Cup Series. I mean, this is obviously really big, your 69th start, and finally getting onto the 3rd step of the podium. It's 3rd place, but I mean, hey, still the best finish in your run in this league, so reason to celebrate.
Yeah, you know, I'm just so accustomed to the greatness up in the booth with you guys that I figured I'd just show some greatness on the track tonight, so in honor of that.
Well, kind of talk us through the run today, because it looked like it was an absolute race for survival out there. You're one of the very few cars that make it out of this race clean.
Well, it was a prayer, you know. I don't know if you saw, but I spun pretty hard with about 15 or 20 laps to go, and I lost a ton of positions, and I thought, man, I'm done. I'll be lucky to get a top 10, but caution came out, some guys pitted, and I still had speed on the restart, so I cut through some people. I don't know if Cosman maybe cut me a break there on that last turn, but I was able to pull in front of him there for my first podium, and super grateful.
Well, all of this, it's obviously been very mixed results for you over the course of this season. You entered this race 16th of the points, 155. You were 33 behind Jake Nippris. With this 3rd place finish, you're going to look to close that gap. Do you reckon you can have something else for the rest of the field and potentially go at it once again by season's end?
I might be have a better shot next season, but this season's been great. I've had speed this season. I've qualified a lot better. I've been racing up front a lot more. I just a lot of times get caught up in something, and I've got to work on surviving and avoiding some of these accidents. And I think that, you know, I'll be more consistent and hopefully be somebody you guys see in the top 3 more often if I do that. So.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again in a few weeks. Next week at Talladega. And who knows? Maybe we'll be speaking to a Victory Lane, because Talladega is one of those racetracks where anything can happen.
That's right. I appreciate you guys. I want to do a shout out to my teammates and also bow ties, which of course I create. But I also want to let everybody know there are some guys that still haven't received theirs. Don't worry. I'm working on it, and I'll get them out to everybody. I don't know if you know, but I give a bow tie out to every winner. So I don't know what I'm going to do if I win a race, Nolan. But anyway, yeah, I'll get those out to everybody.
You'll have to update your driver photo with a bow tie on it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck once again, and we'll see you at Talladega next time out.
All right, see you next week.
Joey Barrett comes home third this afternoon, and Brad, that is going to bring our show today to a close. What a wild, wild race that we had this afternoon. And there's still plenty more action yet to be had when we go racing at Talladega a week from today.
Yeah, I think the hot temperatures, along with the tempers flaring here in Kansas, brought a lot of drivers to, get a little bit hectic. And I think at Talladega next week, they can try and use the friends they've got and try to get, that wild card race out there. And I think for a lot of the drivers that might have not had great fortunes here tonight, maybe it'll repay them down in Alabama.
Well, there's still plenty of racing action yet to be had here on Green Flag TV. And, of course, Talladega Super Speedway being just around the corner. Going to definitely a wild card race for sure. 3 races to go before we get ourselves set up for the regular series finale at Watkins Glen International. And the top 10 being reset for the chase just beyond it. Don't forget to check out the FTR events, Almeida Racing Academy Endurance Series and the VSA Sports Car Championship. 2 endurance races coming up on Saturday, as well as the SRA IL Truck Series at Rockingham, all coming up in just 2 days on Saturday night. Might as well ramble alongside Brad Dennis. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time out when we go racing at Talladega on Green Flag TV.